For the average American soldier, the euphoria of Saratoga was short-lived. Not long after that victory, American troops prepared to spend the winter at Valley Forge.
Almost everyone has heard of the soldiers of the Revolution being tracked by the blood of their feet on the frozen ground. This is literally true, and the thousandth part of their sufferings has not, nor ever will be told.
The conditions at Valley Forge were abysmal. You have the problems of weather, cold, rain, sleet, snow. You have problems of illness and disease that struck down many. You didn't have adequate boots. Many of the men were barefoot. On top of that, you have a lack of food. I think particularly bothersome about this was that Valley Forge, being in eastern Pennsylvania, was in the breadbasket of what was then the United States. And yet here we are, the Army, living in the midst of plenty and close to starvation. It seemed indeed to the men that their Congress had forsaken them and their own country had forsaken them.
In spite of the hardships, both in battle and in camp, most soldiers remained with the Army.
I do think there was a commitment to the revolutionary ideology. The worth of an individual, the ideas of law and liberty justly used. I think there was also very much a commitment to George Washington as a leader. Washington had shared everything with those men. I think it's very, very difficult at times to quantify such things as comradeship within an army, the bond between a general and an army. At times, I think it is somewhat spiritual, almost mystical. I don't know that you can scientifically analyze it, but somehow there was that bond that held them together.
The winter at Valley Forge showed two things about Washington. He had to show the consistency and the steadiness to just be there and to sit it out through the disease and the suffering of all the troops. And simply by being there, simply by not furloughing himself, by not going back to Mount Vernon, he could be a symbol and in that way a comfort to the troops. But maybe the most important thing Washington did at Valley Forge was to begin the training and the professionalizing of the Army. And that he did with the help of Baron von Steuben.
Von Steuben was not really a baron, but he was an officer in the Prussian army, one of the best forces in Europe at the time.
At this point, the American Army really did not have a set manual of arms or drill instruction. The English had theirs, the French had theirs, the Germans had theirs, and we had not settled on one at this point. What he did was to dumb it down for the Americans, simplify that manual of arms, and then drill the Americans on it over and over and over and over again. Adding to that, von Steuben had an infinite supply of German and English curse words, which he used with great alacrity, often in the same sentence.
Although the troops, in the words of one soldier, had not a scrap of anything but their ragged shirt flaps to cover their nakedness, von Steuben's drills helped keep their minds off of their misery. And in March of 1778, they were cheered by the news that a treaty of alliance had been signed with France. The long winter was nearly over, and soon the war would begin again.
You could see that as they came out of Valley Forge then in the spring of 1778, and Washington's men meet the British, meet Clinton at Monmouth Courthouse in late June of 1778. Clearly, von Steuben's efforts had paid off. And clearly, this army now was becoming an army that could take on the best of the British units and stand toe-to-toe with them.